Well, here we are live, aren't we? Today I am going to study a car. And there's a big reason why I'm going to study this car. And one of the things we might do along the way is I guess what I'm going to do is talk to you about the process of studying a thing, in this case, a 78Z28. Now, I could go on about maybe you like cars, maybe you don't like cars. But one thing's for sure, if you want to learn to draw things, you've got to practice drawing things. And a beautiful car like this is as good a thing as any. Now, this is the process. We're not going to get anywhere anytime soon. Well, I probably will. I've been doing this a while. And if you've been drawing for a while and have practiced your studying skills, and you'll probably get somewhere too. The point is, I don't expect to be able to I'm not going to do a finished drawing here. What I'm going to do is wrap my head around what a 78Z28 looks like. Now, I know damn well what a 78Z28 looks like. However, I don't necessarily know how to draw a 78Z28. Anyway, let's begin. Let's begin. The first thing we need to do is consider the perspective. Now, we're not going to draw perspective lines or use fancy perspective tools. All we're going to do is basically sketch out a rectangle, roughly the same size as the car in the reference. Create a rectangle. Actually, what we're going to create is none of this has to be, I like trying to draw straight lines, but they're hard to draw. But it doesn't have to be straight. Alright, so let's see. How we doing here? The only thing you have to make sure is that your lines are basically going the right way. So the big question is, now this is bigger. That's okay. Again, I'm not gonna try to do anything fancy or permanent. I am just getting a rough idea of what this car looks like, because later I'm going to actually draw. Now what happened here? This would be higher, not lower. So I'm kind of going over and over and over and over and over it. And that is because I'm not used to live streaming. And sometimes I just do that anyway. I'm going to double think everything that I'm doing because I'm live on the internets, on the interwebs, and till I get more used to it. That's how it's gonna be. But I might sit here doing this just for 20 minutes just to get my head wrapped around what it is I'm about to embark on. So now what we want to do is, again, let's see. We got this, well, let's put this above so we can draw on it. Obviously, we've got roughly that and roughly this. But that's not what I'm trying to achieve. All I'm trying to achieve is fit the car inside of here. Now, one of the most important things to do is establish where exactly the wheels will be. And we could do that a number of ways, but the easiest way I find is to get some, well first, one thing most cars almost always have in common is their rear wheels are even. Usually anyway. Now, we want to put the wheel well in roughly the right space. So the question is, maybe even before we do the wheel wells, maybe we want to kind of establish where the, you kind of break a car up into the sections. This is the rear end, this is, the door panels, and this is the front end, right? So we want to make sure we do it proportionately. So the door area is going to be about there. Probably back a little further. The perspective on this car is pretty steep, as any image of any car would be. So let's see. We definitely have a line here, and we can just, let's get rid of that so we can see it better. This isn't even a very high resolution image I'm working with, but that's okay. Again, this is the first of many Camaros I'm going to draw. Well, maybe I'll only draw 3, maybe I'll draw 5, who knows? We'll see how it goes. But we have this. Okay? And the wheel takes up about that much space. And we'll say this wheel takes up about that much space. This wheel well. obviously this line would be relatively straight. Now, I'm playing games with this here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna guess here. You know, again, I'm not trying. This is not an attempt to nail this image, which is what I often get caught up trying to do. Oh, I gotta make it look just like it, and then I get frustrated and stop. But that's not what we're doing here at all. Alright. So now we see this line goes sharply this way from the wheel well. So we definitely want to make that happen. It's almost straight. Again, what we're gonna end up doing is approximating this car just to get a feel for what a 78 looks like. Again, I know what a 78 looks like. Do I know how to draw what it looks like? Very, very different story. That's why this exercise is not about getting it perfect. It's just about starting to wrap my head around the basics. And the basics are, now look at this. We got a problem right here. This is way bigger. Let's move everything over. It's okay to go outside of our little box. Okay. See this shoulder on the back here? It comes right to the door. And that comes down. And then meets this. We'll just do some erasing. Like I said, not trying to nail this thing on the first try. Just starting to wrap my head around the concepts. This. I'm just trying to make sure that lines go in the right direction, right? So this is tricky, right? This part here is very tricky. Let's see. Let's bring this back here and see if that makes things easier. This is gonna go all the way back here. I think it will make things easier. So then we got our windshield. Now the windshield starts well behind this wheel well. We want to make sure, actually, let's see, it starts, this side of the windshield starts approximately here. So that's good, That's what I probably would have done naturally, put it about there. But it comes way over here, right? Way over. So that's important to pay attention to. And then what we got here is, it feels like this is all squished, doesn't it? Definitely feels very squished, but it's possible. Yeah, this has definitely got to be more like this. This is very, very squished. Well, again, we're just trying to wrap our heads around it, so let's give it some space. Probably not too much space. Probably, we'll start with that. Now, I also feel, let's see. Well, we can see this. Bang. So let's get this shoulder going here. This shoulder leads right to, this is the tricky part. This is tricky. This whole shoulder part is too, I think our wheels are maybe too high. Let's move them down a little bit. Lucky for us, we're dealing with digital. We're in the digital realm, and so that means we can make instant corrections. So let's see. Obviously this is just a very thin line. And this, something looks very wrong. Or does it? It's okay, like I said, first of many attempts. what happens is when you try multiple times, you begin to recognize what you've done wrong. Because next time, the next picture we'll use will be a higher resolution, so we'll be able to see better. So this should be more straight. The door, I wouldn't think that, but the door looks like it's wrapping right here and then kind of goes over here and then comes down. And this here, this roof, very important that this. Hey, what's going on here? Let's see. There we go. Okay. Let's see. So this is definitely, I can see that this feels wrong. However, I also see that this is looking enough like a Camaro to say, okay, I'm beginning to understand what a Camaro looks like. And I know I've said this before, if you've been watching, and according to my analytics, not many people are, but if you've been watching, I said, well, yes, I'm very familiar with this car. But drawing it, that is a different story. So, but what's going to happen is, I know from experience, that once I sketch this car once, I'll be able to draw it freehand, and if I sketch it, study it, not sketch it, study it. Once I study, if I study it more than once, I'll be able to draw it freehand even better. And on like that. So you never think that you should suddenly just, oh, I'm gonna draw that, and then just draw that. You need to spend time with your subject and learn about it, and then you'll be surprised what you can do with your drawing later on down the road. Now, it took me many years to embrace this idea. It's you know, it's tedious to learn to draw something. It's not actually fun. This goes like this, and this goes like this. This goes like this, and this goes like this. And especially in the digital world, look at that. Oh, I see, this is black. This is just shadow. Okay, so this does come down here. I was gonna say, look how you can't even see the edge of the door. The door looks like it comes right to the edge of that fender, and it probably does come pretty close. As I said, we'll definitely study a better picture later. And I feel the proportions on this are decent, certainly not right. We're not trying to get anything right yet. We're just learning. What does this thing look like? Oh, look what I've done. I got my wheel well here and all this space between the door. Look at how this is different. This comes right here like this. So that's something, that's a problem. Let's try to fix that. yeah, we don't do that. What we do is we move the wheel well. Let's see. That's definitely a no-no. This would be all a lot smaller. That's part of the thing. That would be smaller. That's better. Oh yeah, I've got this much bigger than it is. Look at this. Well, let's squish all of this back. This is not right. Look at how this is tiny. Mine was big. So that's closer to what it should look like. Closer, better idea. Maybe this wheel well would be bigger. One thing I know is that, whoops, goodbye. I just happen to know that this wheel well would definitely kind of take a turn like this. So you see how I start with cube type shapes. The reason I start with cube type shapes is because you know how when people show you perspective videos and they always draw boxes and cubes. Whoops. And they say, oh, you gotta draw cubes. And you say, I don't want to draw cubes. I'm drawing them very quickly, but you know, you gotta draw a cube and you're gonna make it 2-point perspective. So that means you go like this. All right. I'm just trying to do this because, whoops, this would go to the vanishing point. What am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. This. Oh, this would go to this vanishing point. I don't even know how to do it. Yeah. Okay. So now you know, and so this is how you do it. Well, doing all the vanishing points and stuff is very tedious. And as you can see by the way this sketch is coming out, I don't need to draw all these vanishing points and stuff. I have strengthened my observation skills, and I can approximate perspective. Anyway, that's I often get into perspective tutorials and find myself losing interest because of the tediousness of it. And I also say, you know what? I don't need it. I'm pretty good at it. And so, you know, so let's embrace the fact that I'm good at it, right? Instead of, I don't know what it is, you know, instead of not drawing. So we're drawing. I'm drawing. Are you drawing? Do you have something against this car? You know, when I get better at live streaming, you know, we should draw together. And when I get better at live streaming and when people show up and come talk to me, we should draw things like cars. Even if you don't like a car, right? You should draw things that you're uncomfortable with or not very skilled at. Mike Mignola is a famous graphic novelist, graphic novel illustrator, comic book illustrator, however you want to call it. He always jokes about how he hates drawing cars. Well, that's fine, but you know, he sure draws a lot of other stuff. And I think he just has a real, I don't know what his problem is, but if you're looking at this car and you're saying, well, that looks like a boring thing to draw, then never mind to drive. you know, then I don't know what to tell you. I guess this is not the channel for you. Not the channel for anybody right now. Anyway, let's get back to drawing. Because I like the way the rear end of this is coming out. I'm almost positive what we can't see here is a small divot here. We'll learn more about the Camaro in future drawings. Let's see now. So anyway, I was talking about squares, right? This starts out as a square. We're not going to leave it that way, right? We just want to make sure we understand the basic three-dimensional space that this thing takes up, just like the car. Notice something about a cube when you draw it and the three-dimensional space that a thing takes up. Notice that I knew, and I, you know, I'm not trying to say I know everything. This is what I learned. You got your cube, and it has to. You want to try to make it take up the parts of the cube. This is the point. This is a what do you call that? Two-point perspective cube, because the car is in roughly 2-point perspective. And so that means we can see the front of it. That means we can see the top of it. That means we can see the side of it. We can see 3 sides. That's the whole point of 2-point perspective. It's not often stated, but that is the concept. A 2-point perspective means you see more than just 2 sides, means you see 3 sides. And a 3-point perspective is just a different, you would also see 3 sides. Because you can't see more than 3 sides of a object, because your eyes can't wrap around and see the 4th side, the 3rd dimension. I think that's part of why they call it the 3rd dimension. Anyway, that's a ramble. That's not important. Now, one of the coolest part about drawing sports cars is the wheel well right here. This is the part that's really cool. Bang. It goes like that. And this comes down. Boom. Maybe I'm not doing it justice, but I am just wrapping my head around the concepts at this point. I have drawn a 78 Camaro 0 times before. I've tried to draw a 78 Camaro maybe 4 or 5 times in my life and quickly abandoned the process because of this. How long have I been streaming here? How long have I been working on this? Well, I bet you when I started, you didn't even think it would look this good, and I haven't even scratched the surface. Because what I started with was nonsense, right? It looked awful. Now we're seeing it start to take shape because I'm just working and working and working. And the key is I am working in digital. So I can do anything I want. That's the beauty of most of us who work digital these days. I mean, we live in the digital age, and if you are working with paper, just don't be afraid to make mistakes and scribble, scribble, scribble. If you've got something that, you know, ends up looking like this at the end of the day, that's okay, because you shouldn't be trying to figure out how to draw something in one session. I always say it like this: spend time with the subject. Now there's a sharp line that goes right through here that is not visible in this photo. I believe it is not here, but it is definitely here, and it is definitely here. In fact, we can see it there. If I get rid of that. And again, I said it 10 times. I know, I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself. Oh, nobody's here. We are going to get a much better picture. I just liked this, you know, this picture for starters. I just wanted to start with this. Okay, let's see. Let's get back to drawing, because the back looks cool. The front is going in the right direction. This is the hard part though, the front, right? So let's see. I think we did not make this come out long enough. Let's make it come out a little longer. Just a little longer. Make room for daddy. Let's see. Okay, so you know, just roughly trying to see, oh, what is it that I want to do? I don't even know yet. I know I want to capture the concept of the tube that exists, that makes up this fender down to this light. Of course I want to do that. That's what the car looks like. Now I could start. I mean, the reality is I drew this and I didn't make that come out far enough. Whoops, that's not right. Let's see. Let's make a flat section. Well, it's right here. Good art. Okay, so I'm doing, oh, I see. If I'm going strictly by perspective rules, I can't make, this line can't go like this. It has to go like this. It has to follow this, because these headlights are in line with each other. I mean, obviously, this one is going to line up with this one. And then we can same thing with the bottom, right? It's going to line up. See, I'm starting with squares. I'm starting with straight lines, really, is what I'm doing. I'm not going to attempt to, oh, I made this up here, didn't I? Well, I guess I like it up there. We'll just do it that way. I'm starting with straight lines because it's foolish to try to nail this shape without learning what it looks like. And I am starting with the box to find out, okay, and it's got a slight, very slight curve here. And from this angle, this curve is much deeper, right? And then as we go up, this curve is pretty deep, almost like a circle. I think I'm doing it wrong though, yeah. Well, I can't even see what I'm doing. This has a, ooh wee, that's not looking too good. But this is deceiving because the inside of this cup is straight, but the outside gives this impression that it's scooping because the shape of the fascia, or that has all the swoopiness to it. The cone inside is not as Anyway, like I say, I'm just talking about that. That's terrible. Is that not horrible? All right, here's what's gonna happen. I'm going to stop the live stream, and I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow. I'm gonna start. The plan is to start live streaming all the time, simply because I'm drawing all the time. I have an assignment. I'm supposed to draw a certain cartoon image, and the client wants a Camaro, and I can't draw a cartoon Camaro if I don't know how to draw a real Camaro. Well, I mean, I could, but I mean, you know, I'm killing two birds with one stone. I want to learn how to draw a Camaro anyway. And I am learning how to draw a Camaro. Yahoo! But yeah, this was just my first live stream, first of many, I hope. And I'm just gonna, you know, no need to bite off more than I can chew. Have a nice night.